Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo. Then we can be assured that other nations will not treat America with respect, the respect that we deserve.
What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics, back in with a new video, and today we have a new poll analysis. I know, it's been years, I think, at this point, that we've done a real deep dive into a new poll. But this poll has something in it that's so groundbreaking, so huge, that I can't just, ignore it. So today, we're going to be taking a look at the Wall Street Journal poll by one of the best pollsters in the country, Fabrizio. Yes, that's a weird name, but again, he is one of the best pollsters in America. In fact, he was Trump's main pollster in 2016, so he knows what he's doing. Now, before I forget, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes, let's try to hit 10,000 subs before May 1st. That'll be greatly appreciated, and yes. So why am I exactly talking about this poll? Again, this poll has some very generic stuff. Like, you go down here, it says, who's going to win Congress? 46% said, Republican, 41% said Democrat. So around a 5-point lead for the GOP. That is up from around 3% of November of last year. So what's the big deal? I mean, is the approval rating? No, same deal. Only 19% strongly approve of Joe. Or I should say, actually 21%, excuse me, but still, 21% strongly approve. That is such a small base. That is pathetic. I mean, 47% strongly disapprove. There's more Biden man bad energy than there is Orange man bad energy at this point. I mean, this is getting scary how lopsided this is getting. I mean, with Trump, yeah, he had a high strongly disapproval, but at the same time, his strongly approval was nearly identical. This is just bad. This is very intense, anti-Biden support. But that's not even the big deal. You go down here and the actions of what would you want U.S. to do in Ukraine, pretty much what everybody's been saying, just economic sanctions, and that's it. Which, by the way, again, I don't really care. That whole situation is, as long as we don't send troops to Ukraine, I don't care. But then you go down here, and this is where I said that I'm shocked about. Well, not this part. I'm glad that 73% of voters said that China was the nation's biggest threat. That is just true. I mean, these people make it sound like that Russia's the biggest threat. Like, no. China is by far way more of an economic threat than Russia. And the only people that believe that Russia's a bigger threat is the people that believe that GQP is like a terrorist organization, like, people are getting stabbed, molested by them. It's a scam. But the real shocker is this. Right here. The survey also found Republicans making huge gains with minority groups. They're winning the Hispanic vote by 9. Hispanics. This isn't like the white vote or anything like that. This is Hispanic voters who are now, I guess, white nationalists according to the Axios. But the point is this. The Republicans are leading these voters. Does everybody forget what happened in 2020, 2016, 2012? Democrats have won, Hispanics by, 60 in, 2012, by, 55 in, 2016, by 50 in 2020, or something like that. It's, I may be off by a couple points, but you get the point that Democrats usually win these voters by landslide numbers, again, 20, 30 points more realistic, but you get the point. The fact that Republicans are winning these voters by 9, that's a stunner. And also, Republicans are winning 27% of black voters. You heard that right. Black voters. The last time I think they've ever cracked, 15% was Nixon, let alone 27%. And again, this is a disclaimer. This is still a fairly small sample size. Yes, the survey had 1,500 respondents. Yes, which is more than you need. But for some of these groups like black voters, Hispanics, these numbers may be off by, 6, 7 percentage points. But even so, these are historical numbers, especially the Hispanic group. Republicans, I don't think, have ever won Hispanics. Again, people say that Bush did good with them. No. He did better than most Republicans. Well, that's saying, okay, I did 1 point better. That means I'm better than everybody. Who cares? This is something Republicans have never done, I believe. Even in Reagan's landslide, he struggled with Hispanics. So what does this exactly entail for the future of America? Well, put it simply, guys, Republicans are going to have a majority in the future. That's just a fact. I mean, you look at this map here in 2024, and these are the current, I guess, quote-unquote, safe states according to experts. Well, you want to know something about Hispanic voters? There's a lot of them, especially in swing states in quotation like Texas, Florida, and Arizona, and of course Nevada. But the point is this. They're not just in these states. Of course, in Texas, they're in the Rio Grande Valley area, Houston, Dallas, etc. That's important. You know, New Mexico, you know, Albuquerque, you know, you get that point. Arizona, that's a big one. Phoenix, you know, Tucson, etc. But people seemingly forget there's other states with a huge Hispanic population. Not like Texas or New Mexico levels, but in places like Georgia. People seemingly forget that in Georgia, not Arizona. That's not Georgia. Right here in the Gwinnett and Hall counties, there's actually a substantial Hispanic population in these two counties. And take a guess, these are counties that have trended Democrat significantly over the years. And even up here in, you know, Whitfield, there's actually there's a solid Hispanic population here, but again, it's how much more can you improve there? But Gwinnett's the big one. I mean, this county used to vote Republican. Now, Biden won it by 18. And this is a county that's changed dramatically. You know, a lot of more black voters, Hispanic voters. But let's just say Hispanic voters are voting 50-50. Well, put it simply with Georgia. I mean, it's like, okay, you pretty much stop a lot of trends in the suburban parts of Georgia. And at that point, it comes down to a free-for-all in the Atlanta urban area. Essentially, Republicans just can't get killed in Atlanta proper. If that's the case, if Republicans are truly tied with Hispanics, again, this is one of the best pollsters in the country saying this, then yeah, it just becomes a fight to the death over who can do better in the Atlanta urban area. Again, Democrats will win it, but if they win it by, you know, not that big of a margin like they should, that's a lean Republican state. And then even so, you go to Florida, I mean, if the Republicans are winning majority there, I mean, that's safe. Texas, God. I've been saying Texas is going to be safe for a long time, but this poll is reaffirming that, yeah, I mean, yeah, you have trends happening in Dallas, but look at the Hispanic population. Not just the Rio Grande Valley area, but Houston, San Antonio. Two cities I've been saying for a long time that these places are going to trend Republican in 2024 by a substantial amount. So you do that, and even so, places like Colorado and Virginia are not necessarily safe. Again, they don't have the biggest Hispanic population, but look at this. Colorado has a decently sized population of Hispanics. Virginia, especially Northern Virginia, of course, the place that's trending the most Democrat, has a substantial population. And again, I'm not saying these states would go Republican, but they get closer. They force Democrats to spend time in these parts of the country. But then you look at this. Right here, Republicans have 235 essentially right off the bat. Well, outside of Georgia. Let's just take out Georgia. They got 219. Democrats would have 181. So at that point, if you, let's say Hispanics continue to trend Republican, anything that happens in Arizona, it doesn't matter. I mean, Arizona, I mean, look at this. Tucson, Phoenix, Mesa, Chandler, etc. Santa Cruz County, you know, Yuma. Places that, you know, in 2020 did trend Republican. But places like Maricopa, it did trend Democrat, but not by much. And Republicans do good with Hispanics. That's not crazy to say. And again, places like Georgia, it doesn't have the biggest population, but it's a big population in the important parts of the state, the Atlanta suburbs. The North Carolina, another one of those states that surprisingly has a decently sized population of Hispanics. And like usual, it's in population centers like Durham, Raleigh, Charlotte. And again, you keep adding this up, and while Republicans in this situation, they just need to win one state. I mean, yeah, you could win, you know, Nevada and New Hampshire, but if you win Wisconsin, well, that's it. You win the election. That's all you would need. And this is what I'm telling people. You don't have to shill for Hispanics saying, we're going to give you reparations or anything like that. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, however, is use policies that, Hispanics like, pro-life policies. Don't listen to those polls that claim that, Hispanics are 80% pro-choice. That's BS. Look, the Hispanics I know in real life, and, in Wisconsin, there's not many of them. I mean, only in Milwaukee there's a substantial population. But the ones I do know, they're conservative on social issues. And I'm not talking about this milquetoast. I'm a conservative on, corporate tax cuts. I'm talking about, okay, I'm against the, transgender, ideology. I'm against all this crap. So it's like, okay, adhere to those policies. That's how you win a Republican majority. And again, I'm not saying shill for them. I'm saying just have good policies and voila. Trump proved this. I mean, Trump was supposed to be the candidate that Hispanics hated. They would come out in record numbers against. He's one of the only Republicans ever to potentially crack 40% with Hispanics in 2020. Again, it's questionable how good he did with them, but certainly better than Bush. I'm tired of this narrative that Bush did great with them. Sure, better than usual, but that's not saying much. That's just Texas. So with all that in mind, they have a serious chance of having a serious majority in the future. They just got to have brains for once. And I think they're finally starting to learn, okay, we have to, actually be conservative on issues to win Hispanics. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like now below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.